Welcome to the Connors and Ferris High School Sports Show. I'm Jeff DiVeronica. He's Steve Bradley. And a big Section 5 boys basketball interview right now. And probably, Steve, you'd have to say over the last 3 years, maybe the best boys basketball program in Rochester over the last 3 years.
Pittsford Mendon certainly has set a high standard, winning sectionals and just being at the top of their game year in and year out. And it almost doesn't seem to matter who's in the lineup. The team has a nice flow going, a nice rhythm, and they're 9-0 as we tape this right now.
As we tape this, they've won 24 straight games. Of course, went 15-0 last year, winning a Section 5 championship over the Irondequoit Eagles in the championship game, and avenging a loss from the year before. Let's welcome on to our specialty Skype hotline the head coach in his 7th year as the head coach, Bob Nally. Welcome, Coach. And also junior guard forward. He is the definition of a swingman, folks. Jackson Green, 6'3", terrific wide receiver, terrific basketball player, great instincts, and looking forward to talking to you. We've had, of course, his sister Lexi on the program in the past with the terrific girls basketball program at Mendon.
Right now at Cornell University.
How you doing, Jackson?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So I was doing my due diligence and my homework. And I talked to a couple coaches before, and I said, could this team be better than last year's team for Mendon? Bob Nally, I was told, yes, it could be. In fact, the coach I talked to said, you said it could be better than last year's team. True story? Could this team be better than last year?
Yeah, true story. I mean, like, all of us have been playing with each other since 3rd grade, and it's really been fun developing chemistry with each other.
So, Bob, what gives this team that potential? And I know that's a word people in sports don't like, but, as you see it about the halfway point in the season, what has this team done well, and where can it grow to get better?
Well, I think just to piggyback off what Jackson said, this team does have great chemistry. We are coming off – we do put a lot of time in the offseason, but this year – because of COVID, because of injuries, because a lot of the multi-sport athletes that we have, we weren't able to get together too often, not as much as we had in the past. So when we stepped in the gym in November, I'd say we were behind the ball a little bit. And to see how quickly they've come together, you could just tell that there was instant chemistry with this group. I thought it would take at least till January, maybe February to get things cleaned up a little bit here and there. And on both ends of the floor, it was like 2 weeks and we were there already. So they have great chemistry. I do think this year we have potential to be really, really good. We're not where we need to be right now. But the way these guys work, the way they play together, I think the sky's the limit.
Jackson, how do you replace, or how have you replaced a leader and a ball hawk on both ends of the floor like Jacob Shadders? How have you guys done that?
We just have a lot of people stepping up right now. Like a couple of kids from that played JV last year. They're playing out of their minds right now. They're not missing, and it's really fun to play with them and just drive and dish them. And when you know they're going to make the shot, it's a lot of fun.
Bob, break down the game that Jackson plays, because everything you hear and have heard for the past couple of years is just what a fantastic talent he is, and he's certainly proven it on the court. What makes him so good?
Well, as dynamic of an athlete as he is, he's really unselfish. And his change of pace, his ability to play low and score at all 3 levels is just something that not many athletes have. He also works incredibly hard. As a 3-sport athlete, this kid puts in hours and hours of basketball each day. So he's works really hard at his game, and it's starting to show. I know that he's been on the scene for a couple of years here as a 3rd-year varsity guy, 3rd-year starter as a junior. But I think his game is really just starting to evolve. And that's come with maturity. He's become real mature with his game. He's unselfish. He's, picked up really well on the defensive end. He's becoming a leader out there on the court. And just real special player to watch. Real lucky to coach.
Jackson, how do you manage 3 sports and playing very well in all 3?
They're very similar. So when I'm doing something in basketball, it translates to lacrosse and football. So if I work hard really at one sport, it pays off in another sport.
Is basketball your favorite sport? Is football? Do you have a favorite one?
Yeah, basketball is definitely my favorite sport.
Okay, good. See, I was better at baseball, but basketball is also my favorite sport. And obviously, you're going to have options moving forward. Have you figured out what you want to do with college yet? Where you are in that process, Jackson?
As of right now, I'm just keeping my options open. I'm just trying to get as much as possible and then make a decision when the time comes.
Awesome. We're talking some Pittsford Mendon boys basketball, 9-0, number 3 in the state, 24 straight wins as we start this week. Steve, they're averaging 83.7 points per game, which is up from last year, which was 76 points per game. And they're only allowing 51.9, which is up from 48 last year. So really off their game, averaging 51, or allowing 51 points per game. But check out some of these scores. 65-51 over Hilton, 81-59 over HFL, 69-57 over Sutherland, 78-50 over Batavia, 77-40 over Brockport, 77-41 over New Hartford, and 69-36 over South Park. And then finally, last Saturday, 79-44 over a shorthanded Rush team when Caleb Lewis had 31 points, a career high, 13 rebounds. Jackson, you had 13-11. And London Hoisey, is that how you say it?
Looks like Hoiser.
Hoiser?
Hoiser, yeah.
Hoiser, beg your pardon. I think I saw a typo with no R, but 6 3-pointers in that ball game. You guys had 31 field goals and 20 of them had assists. So, man, that's Bob. Do you ever get worried about the lopsided games? I'm sure you've been asked that before, and not having a lot of games in the game.
Before I go, before the game, these guys just keep surprising me. Speaking of the Saturday, we were shorthanded ourselves. We had, one of our senior captains, Kidder Lindley, was out with an ankle injury, who's better now, but he had to sit on Saturday. We have, a guy coming off the bench, Ryan Dool, for us, who's a sophomore, and he was out on Saturday. So, these guys, like Jackson said, they keep stepping up. Matty Woods and London Hoiser and Caleb and Tyler Shadders and all these guys that we have coming off the bench are doing a really good job.
Jackson, being a third-year player, but still just a junior, have you taken on more of a leadership role? And if so, how do you lead?
I'm a guy that leads by example. So my third year, I've had a lot of experience, and I've gotten to take in a lot. And it just helps me be a better leader and involve my teammates and get the win.
Talking some Pittsford Mendon boys basketball. We'll take a quick break and come back, and we're going to talk about a couple games in particular. One, a big matchup coming up next with Victor. You're watching the Cons and Ferris High School Sports Show on Rock Sports Now.
I'm a biomedical sciences major. My goal is to one day open up my own pediatric office. I want to create an environment almost similar to the environment that Roberts creates for me. I want them to walk into the doctor's office and feel love. When I got here, I was just like, yeah, this is home. This is where I need to be. Be prepared for an adventure, be prepared for a journey, and enjoy the journey.
Have you recently bought a home, or have you been in your home for 5 years or more? Have you looked at your ductwork?
If not properly cleaned, air ducts can become contaminated with dust, pollen, or even mold. This can impact the air that you're breathing.
Check us out online and schedule your appointment today.
Why do you exercise? To look better? To feel better? To drop a few pounds? To train for an event? To defy age? or to keep your ability to say yes to the things you love to do. Whatever motivates you, G&G Fitness Equipment is here to get you there. Treadmills, ellipticals, rowers, bikes, home gyms, and accessories. We'll pair you with the right equipment, teach you how to use it, and be there every step of your fitness journey. G&G Fitness. Your goal is our goal.
There's a path to success full of challenges, rewards, inspiration, and strength. A strength that only the U.S. Army Reserve can give you. The skills and experiences you'll get will give you an advantage in your civilian life. Stay close to home, train to develop your strengths, and get on a path to success. Find out more at goarmy.com/reserve.
For more information, contact Syracuse Army Recruiting Center, 315-449-2830. There's strong. Then there's Army Strong, paid for by the U.S. Army.
Welcome back to the Collins and Ferris High School Sports Show. Jeff DiVeronica and Steve Bradley talking some Pittsford Mendon boys basketball. The Vikings 9-0 on the season as we record this. 24 straight wins off last year's Section 5 championship game. Championship with 15-0. And of course, a couple years before that, all the way to the state championship game. It's been a program, a new level you guys have reached, Bob. I really think there's been a threshold that's been crossed, and I know expectations now are very, very high. Such a balanced squad. How do you get all these guys to buy into the team first mentality? Because we live in a world where a lot of people want to get theirs now. They want to get their points, they want to get their shots. The AAU culture, people talk about it. But I don't see that when I watch Mendon play. How do you get these guys to buy in?
These guys, specifically this group that we have right now, had a front row seat to that 2019 team where you had just mentioned we went to the state finals. And if you remember back to that team, it was very similar chemistry on the team, very similar camaraderie and friendships. And so it didn't really matter who was the high scorer that night. And I think that has a lot of similarities to this year's team where these guys are really close. This team is really close. There's been a couple of groups within this team that have played years and years and years of youth together and that have stayed really close. They play other sports together as well, not just basketball. I think it showed in the football season this year with some of the chemistry these guys have, and you'll see it in the lacrosse and baseball season in the spring. They don't care who scores. They just want to win. They want to have fun. You see Jackson, he was talking about the kickouts to his buddies. He's got the biggest smile on the way back, bigger than those guys who are just trying to be cool and run back, after they hit a three. But, they just really enjoy playing with each other. And, they have the same goal. They want to win as many games as possible.
Big 4-game stretch, Jeff, coming up for Mendon. Canandaigua on Friday night. Next week, Victor and Athena, and then Webster Thomas on the 26th. I know, Jackson, it's a day-to-day world that we live in. Is it easy to keep your team focused and not look ahead to some of these games that people might look at on the calendar and say, well, that's a big game? Is it easy to have that every game is a big game mentality?
Yes, it's very easy because all of us have the same goal. We all want to win a sectional championship, and a lot of these teams that we're playing in this 4-game stretch, we could see in sectional tournament. And we just want to put our team on the map even more.
Jackson, let's go back to that Athena game. You beat them 94-89 in double overtime, and that is by far the closest game you've had. I think the other closest game was Hilton in your opener, and that was a 14-point difference. What impressed you about the Trojans, and I guess how did they give you guys such a good game? What did they do so well to hang with you guys?
They played with a lot of effort, and I don't think we weren't ready for that. They pressed us all game, and the main problem for us that game was we had a bunch of turnovers, and if we diminished those turnovers, I think we would have won that game by a little more. And we weren't prepared.
Same question to Coach. Coach, what do you think they did well, Athena?
I think they did a lot of things well. I think they defended really well. They made shots. They played well together. And they took us out of our element a little bit. And like Jackson said, we weren't super prepared for that. That was early in the season. We were still figuring out our rotations. We were still, we're pretty young. We only have 4 seniors on the team. And, early on in the season, in the first game of the year, Jackson was out the whole first half in foul trouble. That Athena game, I believe Caleb Lewis was in foul trouble the whole first half. So sort of threw us out of our rhythm and, just didn't set a good tone for the game.
Bob, how do you prepare your team for this 4-game stretch that is a great, mid-season test with that'll make you a better team, regardless of the result moving forward? But what's your message as you prepare for the next 10 days or so of games?
Yeah, it's pretty similar to the last few. We had a nice tournament for over break where we had New Hartford come in South Park. That was easy to get up for. New Hartford was ranked up there in the state in Class A, so that was a good test of getting us up and ready. Having a AA school like Rush Henrietta with the history that school has had allowed us to work really hard last week towards that game. And what makes these guys really, really good is that they don't look ahead. They have these goals. We have short-term goals, long-term goals, but the short-term goals are working hard every day and getting better every day. And if you stick to that script, it's going to be easy to get ready for the next game, whether it's, this opponent or that opponent. But these guys, we haven't played Victor in a couple of years. We had a good match with them, good game with them a couple of years ago before COVID. And, our guys are definitely up for playing them.
Before I get a text message from your brother, I want to point out that I'm not good at math. The game over Sutherland, your rival, was only a 12-point game. So that would be the next closest after the Athena game, not the 14-point Hilton game.
I didn't want to correct you, but I knew that.
That's okay. Yeah, John, your brother probably would have sent me a text saying, there's a good reason you were a writer, DiVeronica. You're not good at math. So, of course, we're talking about John Nally, your brother, your older brother, and a guy who you sat on the bench next to for a very long time. Jackson, quick question about Caleb Lewis. Somebody said to me, maybe the most underrated player in Rochester. What makes him so good, I guess, and is he underrated in your locker room? Probably not.
Oh no, 100% underrated. I think he should be looked at more, and I don't think he gets enough credit for how much he does for our team. He's so unselfish, and right now he's just on fire and he can't miss. So every time he makes a shot, I'm coming down the court with the ball looking for him again to shoot again. And, he's underlooked right now.
But Bob, you're a guy that studies the game beyond your own team, and you mentioned Victor a couple of minutes ago. What about that team impresses you?
They're really a disciplined team, and they play a good brand of basketball. I think Tyler Roberts over there is doing just a phenomenal job. He's got the program rolling right now. He's had a few years of really good success. The kids are buying in. They're working hard in the off season. So I think he's just got his kids playing fundamental basketball. They defend hard. They share the ball. They've always got shooters, and like the last few years, they still got really good size inside, and that's a good recipe for success.
We'll go back to Jackson for one more question about your family, actually. Somebody told me, I didn't know this. Was your dad a D1 athlete? And where Boston College is what I was told. Is that true?
Yeah, he played football at BC.
Nice. Okay.
So is Dad influencing you at all for the college sport, or is he letting you make your own choice?
Not really. He just wants to see me succeed. So he's doing everything that he can without putting any pressure on me. And it's really nice.
Boston College colors match up nicely with Pittsford Mendon colors. You don't have to do any wardrobe changes there. Hey, thanks for coming on our program, Pittsford Mendon. We appreciate it. All the best to you guys moving forward. Keep shooting for the stars, because you guys have what it takes to go a long way. You guys showed it a few years ago, and if you're that good, you could do it again. So best of luck to you, Bob. Thanks for being on our show. Thank you, Jackson.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Pittsford Mendon boys basketball, both sides of the ball there, right? Boys and girls, what a great culture and program they've got over there in Pittsford right now, Steve. And another great culture is our friends from Bath Fitters, Steve. One of our longtime sponsors. They do terrific work. That is why they are one of the top grossing in sales in the country. The Rochester team is one of the tops in the country in generating sales because they do great work. And in our town, if you do great work, word's going to travel fast. You do bad work, it's going to
travel even faster.
Exactly. But Bass Fitter, they do it right. You see the number on the screen, 617-0007. Tell them you heard about it right here on the Collins and Ferris High School Sports Show. For our producer, Joe Brott, and my co-host, Steve Bradley, I'm Jeff DiVeronica. Thanks to Pittsford Mendon, and thanks to you for watching us right here on Rock Sports Now, the Collins and Ferris High School Sports Show.